Once we realized it wasn't going to happen, it was all about emptying the tank. We had decided to stop, and at that point we knew how much we had and we wanted to just use all of our energy left. As I laid on the concrete, yes, I was tired, but I was just in disbelief. We actually thought we were gonna pull it off, and at that point, more than disappointing myself, I felt like I had disappointed those I was trying to do this for.
Enjoy your shower and bed.
Yeah. What's happening today?
Alright, so it is now 3:30 in the afternoon. Our plan is to start riding the UAE, United Arab Emirates, fastest known time on a bicycle at 5, because it's that kind of gives us, according to our plan, until 9 to start, to finish until 9 a.m, which is about the same temperature as it will be at 5. So that's our thinking process with that. Our goal is to beat the record, but at the same time just to like go as long as any of us have ever gone. So that's going to be a fun challenge, especially riding through the night. And it's completely out of any of our field of expertise or experience. So
how many kilometers is it total?
So we're going to ride 467 kilometers. That's the route established by the people that did it first. And they did it technically they did it in 20 hours and 51 minutes. The moving time was 14 hours and 30 something minutes, which was at an average of about 31 kilometers per hour. But what matters is the total time, so we're going to try to beat that. At the same time, we might try to beat the moving time, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Chamois cream saves lives, one cyclist at a time.
Oh yeah.
Just leave the shoes quite
That smells nice.
loose.
Miguel, how are you feeling?
I don't know.
Nervous, excited?
Excited, for sure. Just wondering if you can pull this off or not. Let's see. I think so.
What's the secret to pulling it off?
Just keep paddling, I think. And yeah, don't think too much. We will see you after 467 kilometers.
Any last words?
Let's do this. let's yeah.
Can they do it?
Oh, can they do it? You know, Johnny, that's a question with a lot of answers. I believe they can. Yes, they can do it.
Good answer.
So we just went for it. We started, and Miguel and I were doing 15-minute pulls, which means I would ride for 15 minutes in front of him, and he then would get in front of me, and so on, just to save energy so that we'd be on each other's slipstream. A couple of hours in and I was feeling pretty good, so I started riding a bit too hard. Miguel started staying behind a little bit. At this point we're riding in Sheikh Zayed Road, which is one of the, if not the busiest highway in the country. I waited for them, and then when Miguel caught up, he very rightfully said that we still had a long time to go. Boy, was he right. The sun went down, we got off the highway into obviously the planned route, and we just got in the zone. It was dark, so we just wanted to follow the strategy. In my head, we had a good nutritional strategy. Miguel and I were going to take a gel every hour and then have something a bit more solid on each stop. Our first stop was scheduled for around kilometer 110, where we'd meet Philippe, a professional triathlete, and our friend.
I don't know that part.
Feeling good?
Yeah,
Actually?
hungry. I need to eat.
Het is ali a pasta e as meals todas.
Hurt more than I thought it was gonna hurt.
What's hurting most?
Just my legs. I thought I was gonna like get like back pain and like, you know, like joints, but it's just the muscles.
Recap on the first section.
Not very bad on the joints, which I expected. It was harder on the muscles than I thought it was gonna be. I don't know. It's gonna suck.
Okay, Miguel, what hurts most?
The winds and the heat in the beginning. How many bottles I drank so far? 7, 8. But yeah, so far so good, I think. Stretch a little bit.
Yeah, but if you're gonna break the record, you're gonna break like that for 5 minutes.
The record is 20 hours and 50 minutes.
You're gonna make it like,
stops, and it counts with the stops.
you're gonna make it in the 15 hours.
Philippe's slipstream at over 36 kilometers an hour when you're already pretty tired and have a really full stomach is no easy feat.
Okay.
The following stop was at kilometer 180. Philippe was going to ride with us for 90 kilometers, so at that point it meant we still had about 20 kilometers more with him. We were feeling pretty sore, and at this point it was late into the night and we were starting to feel sleepy, so we were definitely starting to experience something that we hadn't experienced before. Philippe left at kilometer 200, and at 210 I was not having a good time. I was really tired, was starting to feel really sore, and I knew that the first mountain was coming up really soon, so that wasn't helping mentally either. I forced myself into the zone. The hill started and I just pushed on the pedals. I just forgot about everything else and treated it as if there was some kind of finish line on the other side. I started going, I started speeding up, didn't even realize that Miguel had a mechanical problem and had to stay behind with the car. It didn't matter for me at that point. Faster than I expected, the climb was over. I was going downhill in pretty high spirits. Then at the bottom of the hill, I waited for Miguel and the crew to catch up. We rode together the final few kilometers to the next stop, which was on the east coast.
Tell me something.
Say something. No, I'm okay. Feeling better than I was feeling. In the past 2 hours, I went through all the emotions I've ever had in my life. And I felt like I was on drugs. I don't know what that feels like, but it felt like that. And no, I feel alright. Just gotta keep going. And I don't know. My brain's off. Don't feel too bad, so that's good.
Nice.
I was feeling better, not much better though. At this point the sun was coming up and with it came the heat. The road from Fujairah to Diba, which was the whole east coast, was one of the worst rides of my life. It was getting really hot and really humid. Once in Diba, we were meant to head back into the mountains to cross over back to the west coast. At this point, it was really humid and the cramps started to hit. I've never had so many cramps at the same time. It was really demotivating. When we turned into the mountains, we also started going uphill. I was trying to force myself again into the zone because in the next planned stop at kilometer 320, my family and family friend Pedro were waiting for us to join us, but it's just, at this point, it just wasn't working anymore. Miguel and I started looking at each other and giving that look, you know? So we realized that we could probably push through the physical pain somehow, take some more breaks, whatever, but we just couldn't fight the heat. We rode to the car support crew and told them that we had to stop, and they agreed. It just wasn't gonna happen. Once we realized it wasn't going to happen, it was all about emptying the tank. We had decided to stop, and at that point we knew how much we had and we wanted to just use all of our energy left.
What was the hardest part?
Heat, humidity. Yeah. If we didn't have that, we could have taken more breaks, taken more time.
So what's the lesson for next time?
Don't do it in June.
How are you feeling physically?
Really tired because we had to push hard.
Next time?
We didn't really know how many people were joining us this time. We pretty much told all the same people. This time we definitely did a lot less of advertising online and on social media. Honestly, I just didn't feel as confident having experienced what we experienced on the first attempt. So in the beginning, we expected to have 4 to 5 riders do the whole ride, and 4 to 6 come in at certain points to join us and help us. That was already more than twice as many people that we had in the first attempt 5 months before. 12 riders showed up at the start with the intent of finishing the thing, and eventually 9 more would join us to help us. That's 21 riders. I remember walking up to the guys that joined on the day and asking them, so how long do you think you're gonna ride for? They just look at me and they were like, the whole thing? As if I was asking a dumb question. So the second attempt starts. Miguel and I lead the 12 riders in pairs, so the 2 of us are at the front. We wanted to make sure that we started because we knew how sketchy the beginning part. Remember, that was that really busy highway. So we start riding, and a couple of traffic lights later, the car takes a sharp right that was not planned. We followed the car, but realized that this wasn't the path we took on the first attempt. So we were questioning ourselves, what's happening? Should we go back to the beginning? We're still here. So because of that little mishap, Miguel and I decided to look at the course on our bicycle computers. Our goal was to just exit the highway as soon as possible to try to merge with the originally designed course. The car in the front was doing the same, except that we turned a bit too early and we didn't have a lead car anymore. It seemed like he was taking us where we wanted to go, but we just kept getting further and further away from the route, and we didn't have a lead car. And we were on a highway, so we couldn't just turn around. We ended up doing 10 kilometers towards the wrong way before we could turn around, adding 20 kilometers to the original route. We waited for the car and made sure that they knew what route to follow and made sure that we would stay behind them for the rest of the way. After way too much time on Sheikh Zayed Road, it was time to head inland and take our first stop, planned break. So it turned out that, like I said, we did about 20 kilometers more than planned because of our mistake, but because we also got onto the highway a little bit earlier, we did shave a few kilometers on that part. That meant that on our first planned stop, which was at kilometer 69 or so, we had 77 kilometers, so we had just about 8 kilometers more than what was planned. The pace was on track to beat the record. Everyone was feeling good, and the next stop was Al Qudra Zad's Cafe in Dubai. The road there was almost straight the whole way. At this point, we were out of Abu Dhabi, obviously, into Dubai, like I said, and this would mark our second emirate of the 7 that we would have to go through. At this point, we'd been riding for 6 hours, and most people in the group hadn't done anything longer than 7, 8 hours. So the spirits were starting to go down. It was still dark. The next stop was scheduled for kilometer 160. That marked the end of the first 100 miles. At this point, the nutritional choices were starting to make themselves obvious. That meant several bathroom runs for me, some tiredness for other people. So much so that Greg was really low. He was feeling really sleepy and wanted to go home. He checked his phone and realized that it was 20, 30 kilometers away from home. Even though his car was being used as the lead car, he was saying just he was going to ride home, and in the end we'd take his car to his place. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Greg was a really essential part of the group. He just had really high spirits, made sure he kept everyone motivated, always throwing jokes here and there, so losing him really wasn't an option. When he said he wanted to give up, it took us all by surprise, so immediately everyone there was just trying to fix it. So we were asking what the problem was, and like I said, he was feeling pretty sleepy, so he wasn't really tired, but the sleep deprivation was starting to hit. We just tried to give him some sugary drinks, you know, Coca-Cola and juices and whatever, hoping that that would make a difference. Fortunately, it did, and he got back on the bike, started feeling better. It was funny actually, not long after that, there was one of the support crew guys was on the side of the road handing a Red Bull. He just grabbed it and took it, even though it wasn't for him, but that helped. So thanks to whoever didn't drink that Red Bull. At this point, we were going through the Mleha Desert, one of the most beautiful places in the country with huge orange dunes. And just to make it even better, the sun was coming up right behind them. So honestly, this for me was the most beautiful part of the ride. Kilometer 200 creeped in on us like a thief in the night. We had this little weird stop planned, kind of in the middle of the highway. I did that because I knew what was coming up, even though it felt weird. It was definitely worth it. We were about to face the first mountain, so I wanted to make sure that everyone was fueled and knew that from here to, well, the top or the other side, it was free for all.
But 230 k's in, going up the first hill.
Good stuff. Feeling a lot better here than we were. 4 months ago, last time we were here. Everyone is still riding after 250 Ks, which honestly is very impressive, and they're riding very fast. We're way under the record, so we're taking a bit of a longer break now. David's joining us soon, so that's gonna hurt. There's only 200 Ks to go. Only. Really good.
The dread is just about to come.
Here to Diva sucks. For sure.
So worst case, we just smash it, dude.
And you can play stuff that's done now.
Follow request from Dave. Put in, go, let's go. Next one.
Feeling good?
Right at the roundabout.
Sees it time, he's like, yeah.
This place would be like very cool.
Yes, Chase.
So we've got 20 Ks until 300. Guys look like they're in good shape. We've got everyone that we started with, and from what I heard about last time, I think it's doing a lot better.
288 kilometers in.
And now we go with our race against the wind. With David came the wind, a disgusting headwind pushing us away from the mountain that we didn't even want to go to in the first place. After all, it was at the base of this mountain, kilometer 320, that on the last attempt we had given up.
You have way too much energy. Way too much.
So I've been eating all day.
Gummy bears.
David led us the 20 kilometers to the base of the climb. Obviously, he was the only one feeling good at this point. But riding through the place where Miguel and I had stopped really bumped our spirits up. And once we hit the climb, John Allen went off and the fun started, I guess. The road was going up and down, and in no time the hill was over. We were going downhill towards the 5th Emirate, Ras Al Khaimah. We stopped at the bottom of the mountains to wait for everyone. At this point, we had 330 kilometers done. We had about 140 to go. Only 10 of the original 12 riders were still on their bikes, which meant that this little regroup became a full stop. Not that the climb wasn't hard, which obviously it was, but on the other side there was a huge sandstorm waiting for us.
Well, the guy's still fixing his tire. Knock the bikes over, there's no way.
Most of us just couldn't stop laughing. On one side, the adventure couldn't get any better, but on the other, the last thing we needed on our tired bodies was a literal storm.
We didn't do so.
I just think that the Mother Nature don't want us to.
Okay.
Chase, get out too.
Yeah, look, man.
Onyx, look at that. There's no way that you can.
Fortunately, the storm was coming from behind, which meant the tailwind. We said, what the heck, and just got back on our bikes and started riding. We're riding at 60 kilometers an hour with a tailwind of God knows how many kilometers an hour. It literally felt like we were flying.
So we have 118 kilometers to go. We stopped because everybody was split, and as soon as we stopped, a sandstorm started. It's a little insane. Yeah, so we're all just waiting for it to calm down a little, I guess. We're not waiting. Yeah, we're not waiting.
As we turned south, the wind was still behind us, so that meant that it would become a side wind. I did just say that we turned south to head home, but we were meant to ride along the coast through the few final Emirates, but the GPS had told the lead car to turn onto the highway, which was a bit earlier than that. For miles, we were riding at 40 kilometers an hour and above with a side wind on one of the busiest highways in the country. Because of the storm, we hadn't stopped in a while. The plan was originally to stop every 50 or so kilometers. At this point, we hadn't stopped for over 80. We were in the middle of a busy highway, so stopping was no easy feat.
You done, Miguel?
Done. I'm not gonna die on the beach, right?
Nah, Johnny.
Nah.
The worst is done.
Is it?
Everyone that's still on the bike is feeling good, I think. I feel great. I don't know why. I don't feel like I've just done 400 Ks.
That's crazy.
I feel better than I did in the beginning and throughout the first 100K. It's just riding a bike. It's just like riding a bike for 400K. It's exciting.
We had a few issues. So we had to figure out if the route we were taking was shorter, how much shorter, and if it was going to miss any of the remaining Emirates. At this point, we were in Al Quwain. It sounds easy enough, just right to the 7th Emirate. Well, the GPS was sending us down the highway to the final destination, which meant that we would miss Ajman, a very tiny Emirate on the coast. It was also telling us that we had less than 70 kilometers left to reach the end. That meant that we wouldn't reach the 467 kilometers that we needed to break the record. Time to go back to the drawing board and good old maps. So we found a truck road that would take us into these less traveled roads back into the original route and through to hopefully beating the record. As we navigated through these small town looking roads, we were able to lower the heart rate a little bit and just enjoy the whole asphalt to ourselves. To make it even better, we had another, movie-like moment. We were riding through one of these huge roundabouts where there were no cars, and there were these kids on their bicycle. We rode by pretty slow, and the Arab-speaking riders in the group just invited them to join us. It was super cool. They were all side by side, just sprinting, trying to come up with these crazy cyclists doing, well, they didn't know what we were doing, but doing what we were doing. crossed the 400-kilometer mark. Ajman went by pretty fast, which we predicted being such a small emirate, and then we were back in Sharjah heading to Dubai where we would finish the ride.
Update, I'm stressing out. We're in the middle of downtown Sharjah. We passed by downtown Ajman. Cars coming out of everywhere. There's madness, Johnny. It's madness. We have to protect our little ducklings. But they're doing really well. We're almost finished. I think we have like 40 left. 40K.
Give or take.
So we're headed to our final destination in Dubai. The next goal would be the 467-kilometer mark, which at the pace we were riding would only take a couple hours. At this point, we had just over 15 hours on the clock. Entered downtown Sharjah.
Only like 40K left?
Yeah, 40K now?
I think so.
Yeah.
I know.
We're nearly 30K away from breaking the record by over 3 hours. It's crazy. We're in the madness of Sharjah right now. After a few mishaps, we're on track and everything's looking beautiful. We've got 8 survivors of the original 12 and still a lot of new help, including Josh over there, crushing it in this beautiful Sharjah traffic.
We planned the second attempt in hopes to escape the traffic, but there's only so much you can do about traffic lights. Well, there's nothing you can do about them. Everyone remaining in the ride was committed to make it to the end. At this point, Faisal got out of the car, rejoined us, and again, we had 14 riders.
We have 24 minutes
7K!
to do 1K.
Now 700 meters.
Because it's at 467.
You tired?
It's fine.
You ready to ride back?
Now we go back, right?
Yeah, we're reverse. Is everything you dreamed it would be, Andre?
I'm just glad I don't have to do it again.
Do it once, done.
Once and a half.
Yeah, that's true.
We did it, guys!
the hell? That was goodness. Good riding, boys.
Thank you.
Epic. That was flipping epic. Andre, tell me.
It's over forever. Never doing it again.
Never again. Satisfaction.
Very much so. That's it. Good job done.
Miguel? Bro,
Done, man. Done.
that was some suffering at the end though, huh?
Yeah, the last 50. You know, like it was like a lot of up and downs, like feeling like really down and shit, and then from a sudden you change your mindset and you again feeling good. And but anyway, it's so many hours, man.
It was just past 6 in the evening, and we had done it. We didn't know what we had done exactly, but it was done. We created amazing relationships, sharing highs, sharing lows in the past 24 hours. These people that were strangers became each other's favorite people to ride with. It's been a few days now, and I still can't quite process it. I don't think I ever will. All I know is that I'm deeply grateful to all these drivers and riders that took on this adventure.
1, 2, 3. Whoop! 1,